Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, I'm going to tell you, life isn't always easy. There's going to be things going on in life. It's like a roller coaster. You got to be prepared for it, but you also have to be able to turn those negatives into positives, seeing the good, seeing the opportunity. And I'm not talking about putting the proverbial rose-colored glasses on and just ignoring everything and everything's great. No, being real, but knowing that you're going to get through it. How do you do that? We're going to talk to an amazing life coach. She's also a TEDx speaker. She's also an emotional freedom technique practitioner and so much more. And Michelle Mehta is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's such a pleasure.
Great to have you here. And this is especially this time of the year as we start a new year, got a clean slate, but there's things going on. I mean, there's some turmoil. Well, we got the wildfires in California. Our prayers and thoughts go out to everybody. I know that you're in California. You're not in Los Angeles County, right?
I am not in Los Angeles. I'm in Orange County, so one
Gotcha.
county over.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, it's happened before, but not at this magnitude. And just, feeling for those people and just even thinking, how do you begin over again? House, I'm talking not talking just about celebrity houses. I'm just talking about anybody, when a disaster hurricane strikes, how do you pick up and move forward? But same thing. Let's say relationship ends, a divorce begins, or you lose a job. How do you move forward? How do you see I call them the glimmers of hope in there? How do you find the strength?
Number one, I think community. Who is in your community? That matters the most. I know in the last couple episodes, we talked about navigating family. How do we navigate the difficult conversation with our family? How do we reconnect with our old loved ones? Right. And then reaching back out and being vulnerable and saying, you know what? I'm struggling. I'm emotionally struggling. I just lost my house or I've just lost my loved one in a relationship. I don't even know where to begin. What do you know? Who do you know that has been in a similar situation that can support me? Because sometimes we feel like we have to reinvent the wheel, but we do not have to, right? There are people that have gone through this before. Someone that they know 1 degree away, 3 degrees away, that have gone through this that might have given you the strength, right? And I know through living in Southern California with the fires and the winds and experiencing those winds, that social media has been massive in terms of reaching out like, hey, did you do the following checklist? Document your receipts, right? It's a simple things. And so that's why one of the reasons why I'm wearing white today is yes, it is January. It's a clean slate to start off the year, but it's also a clean slate to let go of the baggage because sometimes the universe, God, source puts us in situations where we're like, why me? Why not somebody else down the street, but why me? And it's because there's something that you might have to let go energetically that you couldn't do it. So that's why Mother Nature came in and took that away from you.
Is that the lesson?
I'm taking it as a lesson because I am a 1994 earthquake survivor. My house was 1 mile away from the epicenter. So we
Mm.
did lose our home. And to figure out where our community was and rebuild that all over again, go to a new area, move, taught me a lot about, I mean, as a child, you're not really realizing, but when you're driving around your city in Northridge, California, and you're realizing that the hospital that you're born in no longer exists, right? Or the apartment buildings that you thought were there are now like just the car is smushed. So it's the top floor is now the bottom floor, right? Navigating that and seeing how my parents went through that was like, hey, you know what? The one thing that we have is our life. And because we have our life, we can go back and recreate. If we didn't have our life, then that's a different story. And that's why they talk about the homes that are being lost. They don't really talk about the lives that are being lost because people value lives more because that gives you the opportunity to keep going and keep growing, right? Navigating your next goal, navigating your next step, right? And so for me is like December was really challenging. I lost a family dog and a really close family member,
Sorry.
right before the holidays. And it was like, yes, they're gone, but now their spirit lies within me. That's giving me the inner strength to keep moving forward.
I You said a word and it resonates with me because somebody said this word recently, create.
Yeah.
And they said that we're here for one purpose, to create. Of course, we create more humans,
Yeah.
but we also create things, create ideas. Everything is about creation. Your mind, they say you think it becomes reality. What are you doing? You're creating. You're creating your future. You're creating your financial future. You're creating a new widget, whatever it might be. We're here to create. What do you think?
I love that. And I think that's what, I mean, 25 years ago when the earthquake happened, we didn't even know social media was going to be a thing. Now it's like somebody feels something, they blast it. Did you feel an earthquake? And sometimes they're hallucinating and sometimes it's real,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just bringing that creation of word choices together and sharing with others that, hey, you know what? We can't really trust our authorities at the moment because they don't even know what we're going through. We have to reach out to our neighbor, but sometimes phones are down, so I'm going to reach out to somebody away from me, and that's why social media has been so prevalent in these hard times when we face anything that's related to Mother Nature, whether it be a volcano, hurricane, tornado, tsunami, right? It's social media that brings people together.
How do we find the strength to move forward in the face of adversity? Something major goes down, something's happening. Um, I guess we have to have that process of feeling it. But once let's say we're at that point, you've gone through it, you felt it, it hurt, all understandable, absolutely. How do you pick up from the pieces?
Number one is we have to go through the acceptance of denial. This cannot be happening. Understand that first and foremost. Then from there, okay, now that I know this is what is real, you've gone through the denial step. Now you know that this is for real. What is the next baby step that you can take? And that is going back to the state of gratitude. I
Mm,
am grateful to be alive at this moment. Okay, I may not have a home where I created memories of all these years, but at least I know that I have me and I have phone. Or maybe I don't even have a phone. Maybe I have a computer instead. I have something that will keep me connected, right? And a lot of time, and this past fire, this past week, a lot of people even lost their cars. Like the materialistic things that we thought were important to us have been lost.
means
And it's
nothing.
going back to gratitude of at least I'm okay.
Yeah. Isn't it,
And
I saw those images of a bulldozer. People
yeah,
had to abandon their car and the bulldozer's just pushing the cars, not like there was a flood and the cars, they're not going to work. They're perfectly fine. They
yeah,
were just in the way. We got to get emergency vehicles in. But it's a really great point you bring up that, we put a lot of value on these materialistic things. And there's many people that will tell you that, they won the lottery. They had everything in life. It was all great until they realized it means nothing. Like, who
right.
cares? It's not what you think it is, Many times it's
Yeah.
not.
And one of my friends lost her home in a fire, just from like electrical cute outlet kind of blew up or something. And she's like, and I asked her, like, how did you navigate it? She goes, well, for a minute I was homeless, but then I reached out to my family and they allowed me to stay in with them. And then, through the insurance and homes were being, my home was rebuilt. And it gave me this new perspective. And it's like, how do you view life? Right? Every single day we're given two choices, a negative and a positive, right? We're making something on the stove, something gets burnt, something gets undercooked, something gets overcooked, something is perfectly cooked, right? But we still consume it one way or the other. And if we don't consume it, we throw it away. And that's a choice that we're making. So
Mm,
every single minute, every single second of your life, you have
you
a
do.
choice of a yes or a choice of a no. And I believe in the power of one, right? It's one thing that you could keep doing, reliving your life the same way, or you can do that thing that's been different. And
We
that's
really do have
to
choice.
create. We do have a choice. And that's where the opportunity of creation comes in. What are you creating in this moment?
Should you look for the little wins or maybe the big wins? What do I mean by that? Like, I look at your friend whose home was lost in a fire. And wasn't easy going through all that, trying to piece things together. There was some loss there, but insurance company is going to come in and enable you to build again. So
Yeah.
what's the win? Well, this is completely hypothetical, but okay, I'm going to build a new home and it's exactly what I want. because I can now. Previously, I found a home, moved into it, and it was built the way it was, and I adapted to it, and it's all good. Appreciate it, grateful for it. But now here's my win. I can design it, let's say I want to put speakers in the wall. I want to do this. I want to do whatever it might be, but looking for the wins. What do you think?
Absolutely. And that's what keeps us moving forward, especially for someone that believes in positivity. When there is something that's negative, I don't even know how to react initially. I'm in that denial mode, first thing and foremost. And it takes me about 2 to 3 days to process exactly what's been happening. And then for my personal self, I look for that positive silver lining. What is positive here? Well, you know what? They're not alone, right? Seeing the post of, hey, you know what? My house burned down, but not only just my house, my neighbor's house burned down. I'm going to go find my neighbor. Let's rebuild a community based on authenticity, based on vulnerability, based on courage. And let's come together and hug this out,
What
right?
are
Old neighbors meet new neighbors meet old
well,
neighbors,
there's another opportunity,
right?
right?
So it's finding that blessing, that silver lining in the cloud.
How do you find the strength to keep going? All right, so we're talking about looking for the positives, maybe the
Yes.
wins, if you want to call them that. How do you find that inner strength to keep pushing forward?
I think one of my own personal thing is I can't live with the negative situation for too long. I feel like my life is short. It's long, but it's short because I know that I'm going to live a long life, but my life is short in the sense like I don't want to sit here and dwell on something that hasn't been working for the next 6 months. I don't want to waste my life dreaming about something that has already been not working, right? And I want to
Hmm.
move fast. And in the past, also in the relationships that I was like dating or something, I would have this 30, 60, 90-day rule. Like 30 days would be honeymoon, 60 days would be kind of rocky, 90 days, they're like, if they're not going to be my life long term, I would just figure out a way to leave them. And it would give me this process of moving quickly because I knew that I had a biological clock and I want to have children and I didn't want to waste my time with the wrong person. And that gave me adversity. It's something that I have learned over the years. I remember about a decade ago, I was dating somebody in December, and in January, it just hit the fan in the worst way possible. Like he disappeared, didn't answer my phone call, ended up in jail, all the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And I thought I was gonna have a future with him in terms of like, I thought he was gonna show up for my birthday, completely missed it. There was a lot of emotions around that. Long story short, the moment I kicked him out of my life, I was like, you know what? You didn't show up for the things that matter to me. I can't have you in my life. I went on 5 new dates. I just swiped yes on anybody that came my way and I just went on dates with them. And my parents were like, shouldn't you be sitting here grieving for a second? And I was like, why am I going to grieve for something that's no longer even mine? I've made up my mind. It's not going to work out. I'm just going to pick myself and meet the next 5 people. And when I showed up to those next 5 people, I was positive because I was like, you know what? This is allowing me to move on quickly. Now, I don't know if this is a right way or the ultimate way or a wrong way. It is just my way of coping because I could not sit here and navigate a negative situation for too long because I'm wasting my time, sitting here going, oh, if I'm crying about something that lasted 2 months in my life or 2 weeks in my life, what am I going to do crying over for 6 months? And I
I
just moved on.
I applaud you. 3 words, good for you. And I can completely relate. I was married a lot of years and found out I was getting divorced. It's kind of a surprise. Um, Found out some other things too. And a month and a half later, I started dating and completely not me, the old me. And I was just like, why am I going to just sit here and just be this? I'm going to be that. And here's what the universe does for you. The very first person I dated, after years of not dating anybody because I was with somebody for many years, she gave me out of nowhere, and I think it was meant to be the best advice ever. She said to me, after, we used to have fun, like Sunday fun day. We go for a restaurant, we hang out, just whatever. She said, why don't you ever live in the moment?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't know what she was talking about. And then I figured it out that that is where you need to be. And that is the secret to life in many regards. It came from her. And that was the very first date. And if I didn't push forward, I might not have gotten that. And it was all part of, I guess, sweet synchronicity of pieces that all fell together. But, to your point, if we didn't move forward in these situations, but I feel All right, I'm going to ask you a question. In that relationship, before he disappeared, did you kind of know?
I kind of knew something was off, but I didn't know what it was. And because it was like the first 2 weeks, I wasn't really quite like putting all my judgment factors in. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. But then over time, when things were not adding up, I started questioning. And it turned into this whole story. But like his best friend came up to me and broke the bro code and said, "Hey, Michelle, you're not really dating the person you're supposed to be dating. You're actually getting catfished in this moment." And I'm like, "Excuse me, say what?" But then I put all the dots together because I'm really intuitive and, focused on that way. And
Mm,
I realized that I was totally being catfished. His first, middle, last name was wrong. His nationality was wrong. I discovered all of that much later. And it made me realize in that moment, like, why am I going to sit here and cry for something that's not even mine in the first place?
right.
And why am I going to lose myself over something that's not even in my control? I didn't tell him to lie. He lied to me. Now it's in my control to be with him and fool me or to not be with him and live my life the way I want to live.
Yep.
And that's when I reached out to community. I reached out to a group of women because I was in coaching program at that time. And I said, help me, give me the strength to block him forever. Give me the strength to know that I'm better than this. And that's where vulnerability and courage and like the VAC factor that we've talked about, right? Vulnerability, authenticity, courage, they all come together in this moment is let people know that you're not feeling good. Let people know that you're feeling happy. Talk to people, communicate, and stay away from technology to communicate. Really communicate with
Mm.
words that are spoken so you feel the person.
Would you say at that moment or shortly thereafter, you forgave him?
I did. I forgave him because it gave me the courage to know that I am worth it and I am able to trust my intuition and that I know that, he gave me the opportunity to know that, hey, catfish is real. So be the example for other women to let them know, like, hey, these are the filters that I ignored. Pay attention to these filters. So you basically become a leader for other people and you become a teacher for other people because you have now shared your story.
And there was the lesson.
There was a lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I tell people it's a Hollywood or a Bollywood story. I mean, they call it Bollywood. I'm like, hey, this stuff does not just happen in movies, it happens in real life, and let me show you how.
Wow. And I'm sorry that happened to you, but the silver lining, if you will, is the awareness for other women.
Yeah,
Even for me, hearing that, I'm like, really? Like you are the sharpest, and that still happened to you.
right.
Um, but you said the intuition word, and I'm right there with you. It's we all have it. It's our superpower. Harness the power of it. Listen to your intuition. Um, I don't want to say I wish I did in some of the situations we're talking about, um, but I kind of knew. I kind of knew
Yeah,
things were might not be right, but it was only like a 5%. And I'm like, let it go. No, that can't be. Nah. Or
yeah,
you just deny it. You want to deny it. Um, but that's, I think, powerful intuition.
absolutely. And Steve, what's on January 6th? Why is that date so significant?
Actually, that is the day that more people on any other day in the year get divorced or start that process.
How interesting is that, right? As we're talking about a clean slate, marriages fall apart on
Yep.
January 6th as well. And California has 50% divorce rates, and the Orange County in particular also has a 50% divorce rates, which is why in the Indian culture, a lot of women want to change their middle name, but they can't. They can only change their last name because of the high divorce rate.
Wow. And how do you know that?
Oh, I know that because my in our Indian culture, especially from where I'm from, our middle name is our father's name, first name. So it's Michelle, my father's name, and then my last name. And after marriage, you then change your middle name to become your husband's name. And so when my sister got married, she wanted to change her middle name from her dad's name to her husband's name. The state of California couldn't have her do that process. They said you could only change your last name as part of the marriage certificate. If you want to do the whole name change, you got to go through the whole court and do the whole name change process. But for the marriage certificate, you can only change your last name.
Wow. Wasn't
And
aware.
so, yeah, and so then we put all the dots together. It was because of the high divorce rates in the state of California.
Oh my gosh. And when we talk about names and fathers, I've shared that I'm in a men's group before. We only refer to ourselves by our last name to honor our father. Now, doesn't mean that it doesn't matter what type of relationship you had, you still honor your father for the things that you received, the teachings. Maybe it's just one little thing. Maybe it's everything in the world, but you still honor. And I find that interesting with the name.
I love that. And I think, sometimes we forget. It's like, we feel like, okay, the moms are the ones that carry us to term. But the father plays a huge role in terms of leadership, in terms of tenacity, in terms of going through, ups and downs. They're the ones that give us the inner strength to keep moving forward because they have always been the breadwinner primarily. They
Mhm.
still earn more than the women in the United States. It's still a like patriarchal society in many countries around the world. And so that gives us the teaching for the next generation to, hey, you know what? You have that inner strength. And that inner strength comes from the fathers. That's what I believe, and that's what's kept me going.
The older I get, the more I believe that and understand that. And I didn't have a great relationship with my father, and then he suddenly passed away when I was 21. And I look back on all of that, and you know who I am today?
You're just like him,
I'm him.
even better.
I'm him.
Yeah.
And I never realized that, but as life has changed for me in my journey, then I realized I'm him. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, never thought. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying like, whoa. And when he just passed, I had that realization. He liked the water and the beach and that. And when he was gone, I realized that's me. But now, years later, I realize that I'm living his life in a lot of regards. Kind of weird or not.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. And you know what? And having that, when you have a father figure, a mother figure pass away, their spirit immediately comes inside of us. Our
100%.
soul is created by them. It's their DNA is inside of us. And so when they pass on, they can't make the physical changes, but they're able to make the changes when they're in the eternal world. And that's what I truly believe too. Sometimes you're like, how come it's not working right now? But the moment they pass, all of a sudden your goals get accomplished. It's funny how that works.
It is. And I also believe when somebody passes, especially somebody so close to you, like a parent, their energy is around you all the
Oh yeah,
time.
all the time.
And I see the proof. I asked, my mom passed going on 6 years ago.
Yeah,
I asked for signs and symbols.
yeah.
I get them. And they're
Oh yeah.
very specific. There's no denying. I don't care what anybody says. There's no
Yeah, there
denying.
is, and that's where a lot of things start, and that's why they say rest in peace. They're in a much better place because they're able to be in a stressful situation and still guide us on this planet,
Yeah.
in this realm.
Wonderful talking with you today.
Thank you so much. Remember,
Mm.
January is a clean slate, so let the old be gone and start off fresh.
We're white people. We're white. How do we find you? What's the best way? If somebody needs somebody to walk that journey, needs some coaching, just inspiration, you're amazing. How do we
Thank
do
you
it?
so much. Follow me on all things social at I am Michelle Mehta. That's IAMMICHELLEMEHTA. My website is michellemehta.com. And I'm also offering a free consultation for anybody that wants to connect and have that conversation about vulnerability. More than happy to be there for you.
BAC again. What is
Yes.
it?
Vulnerability, authenticity, and
Honesty,
courage.
courage. Wonderful talking with you. Looking forward next time we get together.
Yes. Thank you so much, Steve. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Michelle. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down,
It's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.